What's going on, guys? JB Lion back with another video, and today it is unfortunately the game review for Chelsea vs Nottingham Forest. Like we always say before any video, if you're new around here, or if you like the video, sorry, please do hit the like button. If you're new around here, hit the sub button. If you want to know when I upload, hit the bell icon. And yeah, let's just get straight into this game review. And what is there to say? What an absolute joke of a game. You know, lineup comes out. I'm thinking a bit positively. I'm looking at it thinking, you know, Forest have got their second team out. We've kind of got technically one of our strongest teams out. Derry's first Premier League start. It's all exciting stuff. Within the first few minutes, we concede to an Onweka who hasn't played in months. Scores an absolute towering header and makes it 1-0. We then go on and you think, okay, 1-0, it's just a little setback, you know, nothing too crazy. And then we just go to basically Malo Gusto's just like, you know what, give me that shirt of yours. Rips his shirt, penalty. Jesus steps up, scores. Does basically the most robot baby cradle I've seen in my life and makes it 2-0. And you're thinking, right, well, you know, this is a real mountain we got to climb. If we can get the next goal, then maybe there could be a chance. You know, ball gets swung in. Derry gets basically absolutely RKO'd out of the sky, landing awfully on his neck. That is finally given as a penalty. Not given straight away, by the way. Just, you know, a little while after it's given as a penalty, even though it's pretty much clear cut. Palmer steps up. Of all the guys in the team, you're thinking Palmer or Enzo, one of those. They're bagsmen from the penalty spot. They know how to convert a penalty. Nah, mate, straight to Sell's left side. And, yeah, then we go in half-time, 2-0 down. Second half starts. Forest obviously bring on some of their stronger players just to see the game out. Anderson, Anderson, Gibbs-White, Milinkovic, you know, some of the first-team players. And yeah, they go. Gibbs-White basically breaks through. Obviously, Colwell came on, which is good news to see him get a run out. But Gibbs-White basically breaks through. Caicedo is our right back for some reason, but because there's not our right back, our left back, because there's no Kukurea or Colwell to be seen because they got sucked in. Great ball through to Gibbs-White. Smashes it across the goal to Onweka at the back post who gets the second goal. That is literally the tale of the game. Obviously, we haven't won in 6 games. At this point, we hadn't have scored in 6 games. But luckily, João Pedro basically scores what could potentially be goal of the season. Even though, you know, we just basically got manhandled by Nottingham Forest. João Pedro basically scored, like I said, a goal of a season contender. Because what an absolute goal it was. Set himself up for an overhead kick and lashed it into the top bin. So you can't deny that. Could, like I say, potentially be goal of the season, but just not good enough. We just got absolutely touched up by a Nottingham Forest side, not even their strongest, their basically reserve team just touched us up. At our home ground, basically 3-0. It is absolute horrendous. Blue Co need to get the hell out of here. And I know I say this, obviously it's not the board's fault always, but in this case it is. You breed the mentality of winning. You don't breed what they've done, which is we're going to buy young players who haven't even hit their top gear yet, and we'll spend absolutely shed loads on them. And this is the frustrating thing as a fan, because other fans go, "Now Chelsea spent all this money on all these players." Mate, none of these players were even recognisable players. We've spent all the money, and yes, that's the board's fault. But none of these players we brought in are recognisable players. We've just brought in youngsters for the future, and that's it. Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if players left our club. Wouldn't surprise me if Enzo left, if Palmer left, if Kukurea left, if João Pedro left. A complete clear out in the summer, because that's the end of that's the end of European football for us, in my opinion. You know, because there's no way, the way we played today, there's no way we're beating City in an FA Cup final, right? First of all. And second of all, I don't think we should get European football because we need to sort it out. These owners need to leave. Yeah, we need to get some fight back in our team. We need owners who are actually buying players who are currently proven, not players who are proven in 20 years' time. That's not how you manage a football club. When Roman Abramovich was in charge, he was buying players that were proven right now. He was buying players who had the pedigree immediately. Not 10 years' time, not what we're doing at the moment, the daycare centre. He was buying players that actually, could play football immediately and didn't have to wait for them to grow. We're not in bloody career mode where, we've got this time to let them, put them on a training plan. Nah, we need players who are good to playing football right now. And that today against Nottingham Forest was absolutely disgusting. And I feel sorry for McFarlane. He ain't got a bloody clue, bless him. Yes, he's got some sort of management style and he managed our under-21s. But being thrown into this absolute mess of a situation is disgusting. The poor guy hasn't got a clue. He's been basically scapegoated. Yeah, you go in because there's no one else who's going to step into this absolute travesty of a team, and the way this board manages this club is disgusting. And it is just honestly abhorrent. Worst management of a club I've probably ever seen. And that's beating Spurs. At least Spurs are buying players that are kind of proven. Obviously, they're buying players on the cheap. They're not buying anyone of good quality, but they're buying players that are currently actually playing football, not someone who's still in their nappy and learning how to play football. They're buying players who are currently slightly proven. Yes, they might not be the best owners in the world, but at least they're buying players with experience rather than what we're buying, which is kids. And then wondering why the atmosphere in the changing room is such a kiddie atmosphere. It's because they're all children, mate. They're all teenagers wanting to be the best player in the world. So what are you doing? You're not breeding a winning atmosphere. You're breeding basically a college. Might as well that is literally like playing a secondary school football team right there, because that's the attitude you're getting from them. We're 3-0 down and everyone's just, oh, yeah, just walking around on the ball, mate. We're 3-0 down. Where's the fight in this? And then we lose Derry, and because we ain't got Garnacho or Pedro Neto, who wasn't picked in the squad, by the way, Liam Delap has to come on, and that means that our top goal scorer of the season, João Pedro, is now playing left wing. This club is honestly a joke. And you know what? This clown club that I support would not surprise me one bit if we went on to win the FA Cup. It really wouldn't. Today was the most dreadful thing ever, and I'm telling you now, Blue Co need to get the hell out of it before this club goes even further. And we are so lucky that we have Maresca for that short period of time at the start of the season, because we could have been in Tottenham's position right now. If Maresca didn't do that bit he did at the start of the season, we'd be in Tottenham's position right now. It is absolutely just mental to me that the way this club's run, and I really, like I said, I do hope that we don't get European football, because it's an embarrassment if we do. And, like I said, I don't want these big players to leave. I love Enzo Fernandez, I love Cole Palmer, I love all the big players, but I understand why they would leave this club, because it is an absolute mess, and it does not shock me one bit that these players want out, because I would want out too if I played for this club, because the owners ain't got a clue. Management, McFarlane is trying his best with what he's got. We're hoping to lure in managers like Xavi Alonso, Areola, who's a Bournemouth side that's doing much better than Chelsea, and even the joke of thinking that Simeone would be slightly interested in our club is crazy. We'll be lucky to get a manager next season who actually knows anything about management. We'll probably end up with, what's his name? It would not surprise me if we ended up with the Gareth Southgate. It would not surprise me with these owners. But yes, guys, I'm sorry this video has been a bit of a rant. It was an absolute abhorrent game. We played awful. There was no good players, and they were just all bad players. I'm not going to fill my screen with every single player that was in the team today. Few positives to take away, I guess you could say. Colwell's back. James was on the bench ready to play if needed. Derry got his first start, even though it was only sort of, short-lived because of his injury, and João Pedro basically scored what could potentially be the goal of the season. But yes, I've been JB Lion. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully our next game, which is against Liverpool, we should do better. Probably not, because we're at Anfield, so we're going to get absolutely smoked. But yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've been JB Lion. I'll see you dudes, dudettes, and everyone else in the next video. Peace, guys. Woo! Up the Chels.